Now, there are two types of people in this world. One who love watches, one who read about watches, watch about watches, everything is about watches. And then the other type of people who sound something like,
I bought this watch for $10. This shows me the same time. What's the point of buying expensive watches?
well, this video is for both of you. And if you love watches and are thinking to get into watches, then this may be a perfect video for you. And if you don't know anything about watches, well, you may pick up a few things about how watch industry works. With that being said, let's start the show. Hi, I'm Regal Star, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make a killing with buying watches. With that being said, let's get the show started. Watches can be a great investment. They often hold their value and they go up in prices over time. This is because watches are made from high quality materials and are also considered luxury items. And due to the complicated mechanics that goes behind them, they are appreciated by a lot of people, like myself. And some of these watches increase in value over time depending on the make and the model. Now, not all the watches go up in value, though they come from a prestigious brand, but however, certain watches do tend to hold their value pretty strongly. And if you have extra cash and you want something of a status symbol, you don't want to lose money, then watches are a great investment to go about it. Now, when investing in a watch, it's very important to know what type of watch there are. Now, this is simple Google away, as there are so many different kind of watch that's out there. Now, everyone is more complicated than others and they have more parts that goes into it. The whole type of watch, the whole complications of the watch is all based on one thing: to give the perfect timing to the millisecond. Now, these are the very reason why watch collectors love watches so much, as you can appreciate them. And if you can appreciate something, it will appreciate. You should also consider who the manufacturer of the brand is. Some brands are more prestigious than others. Some are not prestigious at all. So you want to stay away from those because those are not investment, those are just watches. And just watches are just watches, right? And finally, you should think about how rare the watch is. The rarer the watch, the more valuable it is. Watch industry works in a bit of a different way. If the retail price of a watch is higher, it is more likely to continue to go higher. Whereas if you get something of a decent model, then it may not increase in value. However, there are higher chances it will hold its value for a longer period of time. Again, going back to the prestigious brand that we talked about. You should also think about how you're going to use the watch. Are you going to use it every day, or are you going to use it for a special occasion? Or are you just going to buy the watch for completely investment purposes and you're going to store it in your shelf? Whatever may be the reason, you need to get a watch that's more personal to you. Regardless of your intention to sell it, you do want to enjoy your watch. Now, for myself, I have this watch and I have a Hublot Big Bang, which these two watches I use every day. And the other watches are more for a special occasion where it's just, I want to show up, you know what I mean, in some style. And that's when I bring out the big boys. But for the rest of the days, I stay with something simple, right? Rolex Datejust, or as Hublot, as I said. If you're going to use the watch every day, you want to get something less flashy and less expensive, as the watches can wear really quickly. You may not even notice it. You may think that you are getting the best care of it. You wear it after a few days and you will definitely see a tiniest scratch, especially down on these areas. It's just, you can't get away from it if you use a watch every day, no matter how good of a care you take of it, right? So you really need to consider what you're gonna do with the watches that you buy. Personally, I like to believe that watches have soul in them and it carries your soul, like this watch carries my soul. I appreciate it, so I wear my watches. Now, if you're just buying for investment purposes, then that's completely fine. You can do so too. Just buy and put it in a vault and take it out in the next 6 months and you can flip it for $30,000 profit. And that's absolutely possible in this industry. Now, once you have decided what watch you want to get the best prices for it, as the watch prices seem to be different in different countries, in different locations all around the world. And now, the best deals will most probably come from the brand retail store itself. Let's say if you want to get a Rolex, you want to get it from the Rolex store. If you are getting a Patek, you want to get it from the Patek store. However, these stores don't sell you the watch. And until you build a certain reputation, until you have done regular business with them, they are not going to sell you the watches that are going to increase in value substantially. And in my case, when I tried to get my Rolex, none of the store, I looked for 4 countries and none of them were willing to sell me any watches, as they all said they're out of stock. Lucky me, I found it in Nepal, which is the most unexpected places where you could find one, but I got a deal out there from the Rolex store itself. That way I was able to get the watch for a really cheaper price, where I was already ready to buy it from a secondary market or from a dealership where the prices are a bit higher and you may have to hold on to your watch for a bit more longer to start seeing some profits in it. Now that you got your watch ready, you want to make it last longer, and basically comes down to taking care of your watch. Now, you should take care of any of your items, whether it's valuable or not, but you should take an extra care of the watches, as worn out watches are not going to give you any profits, or you may not even break even at a certain point. Unless you have a super rare watch that was worn by some president somewhere, you're more likely not going to see a profit on it. But for that very reason, you want to take care of your watches. Me personally, I never take my watches to the water, and I don't take it for any heavy sports. I like to keep it aside. I like to keep my hands clean when I'm doing some dirty work. With that being said, now it's time to sell your watch. Like buying a watches, you look for good deals. While selling, you also want a good deal. And on both cases, you have to be extra careful where you're buying it from and where you're selling it from, as both buying and selling process can be vulnerable to scams. When it comes to getting the best price, you probably are better off selling it online in places like Phone24, where you can decide what you want to sell it for. If you want to get rid of your inventory quickly, you best go back to the dealer that you bought from there. They will happily buy back your watch. However, you may not get the best deal, but that's the cost of getting rid of your inventory really quickly. And if you have some time in your hand, list it online. There are tons of forums and Reddit. I'll list the link below of some of the forums and some of the websites that you can sell your watches on and even buy watches on if you're interested. The market of luxury watches are always changing, so it's always best to get the best deals out there. Now, one of the tricks that I like to do listing my watches online is I will list my watch, and if it doesn't get sold within a month or so, I will delist it and list it again. Now, the reason to do this is, let's say if I'm a buyer and I go see a watch for $100,000, the watch has been listed there for 6 months and it's just sitting idle. I am more likely going to message the seller and ask him to sell me the watch for 40 to 50 grand. And more likely at that time, he is going to sell it because he's been waiting to sell it for 6 months. So I don't want to give negotiating power to someone else. So hence I will delist my watch and list it again if it doesn't sell within a month. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, do like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the contents that we'll be producing out here. With that being said, bye for now.